In the week since Pakistan brokered the April 8 ceasefire between the US and Iran, a sustained line of commentary in the Indian press, in Indian political circles, and on Indian social media has worked steadily to discredit Islamabad's role. Indian Foreign Minister Jaishankar portrayed Pakistan's mediation using the Hindi word meaning broker or middleman, but carrying in colloquial use a derogatory connotation. The Atlantic and the South China Morning Post and many other notable outlets have reported on the Indian establishment's discomfort with Pakistan's peace efforts. Here is a short history of mediation. 1978, Egypt and Israel had been in a state of declared war for over 30 years. Under US mediation, Jimmy Carter was the president. The Camp David Accords in Maryland were signed in September 1978. They produced the Egypt-Israel Peace Treaty in 1979. That treaty has held for 46 years. But the mediator, Jimmy Carter or US, could not guarantee its terms. 1981. Algeria mediated the release of 52 American hostages from Tehran. The Algiers Accords, it is called, signed in January 1981, ended the Iran hostage crisis. Algeria did not guarantee that future US-Iran relations would be peaceful, and they were not. Algeria gave both them a venue, a face-saving mechanism, and a process. The crisis ended. The 100-year confrontation continued. In 1993, Norway secretly hosted back-channel negotiations between Israel and Palestine Liberation Organization, PLO. The Oslo Accords, they were signed on the White House lawn in September 1993, were the first time the two parties had ever recognized each other. Norway did not guarantee a Palestinian state would emerge. None has so far. In 2020, Qatar hosted the Doha Accords between the United States and the Taliban. The agreement led to the American withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021. Qatar did not guarantee that the post-withdrawal Afghan state would be stable. It was not, still is not. This is the deep truth of mediation. A mediator is not a guarantor. A mediator is not a security underwriter. A mediator is not a substitute for the political will of the parties involved. A mediator is, to use the most honest single keeper of the room. The room is the gift. What the parties do with that room, in that room, and what they do when they leave, it is theirs. We have Bakir Yunus with us, who is the bureau chief, Islamabad for Al Mayadeen TV. And a very significant thing about this TV is that it is Lebanon-based. So we have someone who is directly anchored into these crises that we are discussing in the show. Thank you so much, Bakir, for joining us. Let me start with a very foundational question, because we are discussing mediation here. In the practice and theory of international mediation, from Camp David to Oslo to Algiers, Doha, what is, in your opinion, mediator's actual job, and what is the mediator's actual capacity as well? And from that baseline, how do you assess Pakistan being able to deliver what it has delivered so far in this Iran-US conflict, which is a Lebanese conflict as well?
You see, a mediator usually comes in a stage where two fighting countries are unable to come out from the fight. So that's where mediators do start their work in order to hold fire and ask both sides to come to negotiations. So when there is no door, no link, no way, or no directions that can lead these countries to the negotiation table, here comes the mediator. And mostly the mediator have to have a good link and strategic, power in which he can utilize it with the two sides. And that's what Pakistan do have. And yes, Pakistan have played its role in a very good way. See, it was never thought that Iran and America will come and sit together. It's a long, they are fighting since long. They're against each other since long. And yes, Pakistan have really done a very good role in bringing two sides, two very conflicted sides, like America and the Iranians, to one table. And you have to understand one thing. Why this kind of negotiation is more difficult and more complicated? It is because we are having the Israeli side, the Israelis and the Americans on one side. And since we have the Israelis, so we are dealing with people who never accept or deal or, recognize any law or any, even don't respect the international law. Having this, this element in the equation, that have made it very complicated to Pakistan. But yet, Pakistan have succeeded to bring the Americans and the Iranians. Still, the Israeli element is the element that is actually creating problem, and that is that unsolved, you can say, element in the equation. So what should be done now? It's I think more efforts have to be given, because we have without the Israelis. The Israelis are still insisting, they're pushing the Americans to do more, to fight more. We are looking for the greater Israel. The greater Israel only will come when the other countries, the countries surrounding the occupied territory of Palestine, are destroyed. And that's what is in their plan.
On a very different note, this do more, Pakistan has been very used to it when it comes to what happened in Afghanistan. We were frequently asked by US to do more. And it's strange and it's mind-boggling how a country not even half of the size of US is asking US to do more, that is Israel. There is this sustained, having said that, there is a sustained Indian commentary that frames Pakistan as a channel of convenience rather than a genuine peacemaker. From a scholarly perspective, is there a distinction between a convenient channel and a genuine mediator? Because a mediator is simply doing a job that he or that country has never been assigned to. So how do you define it?
You see, look now, if we will go to this accusation comes from India, and we will go to the accusation that comes from Saeed, we will deal with a very difficult situation, and we will, reply for the people who don't actually understand or want, the international peace or the, what you call it, like the normal equation of the two countries or the countries, living coexisting with each other. So that's why it's difficult actually to define what exactly they want. Now, Pakistan is, of course, doing this mediation. Of course, there's many things that push Pakistan to mediate, and many other things that people do would, these countries would request Pakistan, even if Pakistan haven't taken this step, that these countries would have asked Pakistan, request Pakistan to step over and take its role. Pakistan have done it itself. Pakistan have done this initiative because it understands which kind of complications this war going to bring, not only on Iran or on USA, but on the whole region. We have trade, we have sea trade, we have air trade. So all this would be disturbed, and especially also if you go to and look at what's going to happen to the Gulf countries. So Gulf countries are facing a lot of issues now. UAE is in trouble, Bahrain is in trouble, Oman is in trouble. All those countries wouldn't, we don't even have the ability yet, the political will, or the diplomacy. We don't have the diplomacy set, even deal with such situations. So here we see Pakistan have done it, Pakistan have stepped over, yes. Now, two more or keeping like trying to find an answer to the Indians, which are actually dealing with Pakistan as an enemy, or to the Israelis who's dealing also with Pakistan as an enemy. I think that won't justify them, and that whatever we will say, it will stay for them, like unanswered question.
Right. I'm trying to understand what is the sentiment of the people in Lebanon, since the two countries, Lebanon and Israel, under the umbrella of the mediation by US, are sitting in front of each other for the first time in 3 decades. How is that mediation being seen by the general public in Lebanon, by the journalist community, by almost all the Lebanese who are spread across the world?
You see, of course, there is 2 points of view now. There's those people who say this is a good step. Let Lebanese stop the war because they don't have the power to fight. They don't have the ability to stop the Israeli aggression.
Yeah.
To reaching to the negotiation table that may save lives, save what country have. Other side, which is actually, they have also the valid point that no, Israel they are actually an illegal state, and dealing with the illegal state, it's something illegal. So why should we deal with those settlements, those who have occupied Palestine, those who have killed the Palestinians? And recently, the war in Gaza, they've killed more than 70,000 Palestinians in Gaza. So those people who don't recognize the international law, those people who don't recognize, any, like, even the neighboring, law. So why should we negotiate with them? The only way is to fight them back, and that's most of the people actually understand. It's not only about, for people the concept of the people that it's Hezbollah. It's not Hezbollah only. You have to fight for your right. You have to fight to save your people. Surrendering is not an option. Surrendering to the occupiers, surrendering to the people who fight you to the enemy. It's not the option. This is not the option for many people.
So do you think this is going to lead anywhere when there is this question of sovereignty of Lebanon being violated by Israel ever since the Gaza crisis started? There has been a shadow war, let me say this, in Lebanon as well, that nobody is reported. So is this mediation going to deliver what's actually the Lebanese sovereignty, in my opinion? The territory you have lost, the buffer zones that have been developed, is that going to go away, or is that something that's there to stay?
You see, an occupier can't stay, can't occupy land for a long time. And I think it's a test for not a test for what it was, a test for the Palestinians, for the Lebanese, and for the whole, the international law, for the United Nations, for those people who...
Yeah, because it's not going to stop there. What started in Gaza didn't stop there. What started in Syria and Lebanon is not going to stop there.
Exactly, and they really won't stop. Since they can, they will do it, and they will continue doing it. So I think it's a test for those people. We have to understand that we have an ultimate enemy, an enemy who don't believe in coexisting, an enemy that only believe in killing who's in front of him, and who believes that he's above the law.
Thank you so much, Bakr Yunus, for joining us. It was a pleasure having you. So tonight we did 3 stories as one architecture. If there is a single finding tonight, it is this: the Lebanon track will perhaps produce a peace. The Iran track will perhaps produce a managed war. The mediator will continue to mediate. The forever war will continue to assemble itself. And the question for the next 30 days for our viewers, for the region, for the world, is whether the architecture sets before the room closes, or whether the room produces against the architecture another ceasefire that nobody yet believes is possible. Pakistan is offering that room. The world should think very carefully before joining the campaign to close it. I am Zunaira Azhar, and this was DECODE. Good night.